Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet. This review is brought to you in part by Rogers Hobby Center in Saginaw, Michigan, where the fun begins.
This review covers the F&F 71 Plymouth GTX. It's a 125 scale kit from Revell, number 85-4477. To celebrate the post-pandemic release of F&F 9, we'll take a close look at Dominic's most recent ride from the Fate of the Furious movie. Now, the B-body Chryslers were redesigned for 71 and they had a rounded fuselage styling, and the engine choices were two 440s and a Hemi rated at 425 horsepower. Sales were low in 71 with less than 3,000 units produced. And that was the final year for the GTX as a standalone model. Now, this is a skill level kit. It might be a little high. I think probably closer to a 3. Just about anybody could handle it. And that being said, the intermediate builder would have no trouble. The touchy part might be some of the big decals. It's molded in 87 pieces in white, clear, and chrome with vinyl tires. And as far as I can tell, this Revell version goes back to around 95, and it's had nearly half a dozen releases since then, including this new boxing in 2020. Now, this is a 2-in-1 kit, so you get to decide whether you want to build it stock or a compromised version of the movie car. And we'll talk about that later. When you're done, the car measures 7¼ inches long, 2 3/4 inches high, and 2 3/4 inches wide. And that's Newt tapping on the divider there. He's the program director, and it sounds like Newt's got a question. What? Come on in here, Newt. What is it?
I'm pretty sure all those movies have a big race. So is this the winner?
Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise, so watch the movie and find out. Here are the contents of the kit. As you can see, they're pretty crisply molded. The molds are taken very good care of. You got 2 complete sets of tires and choices there. And once again, either stock or the movie version. Now, we'll be using mostly liquid cement, sometimes super glue for strength, and white glue for windows. But remember, heed the manufacturer's safety and use guidelines when you use or any of the products that you see or hear in the review. Here are the decals for the kit. They're very colorful, and you get individual gauge decals when you want to use some setting solution for those large stripes to get them to conform to the body. Construction begins with the basic engine, so get these parts out and stage them for the next assembly step. Now, here's an issue that appears to be on the kit. There's a couple of tabs there that looks like they are receivers for a separate transmission pan, but there's not one in the kit. So you either, shave them off and smooth it over, make it look like one, or add some putty and just make your own, so to speak. And next you can add the distributor to the top of the engine there, and then the steering pump alternator and fan assembly to the belt assembly there. And grab these parts as well as the completed belt assembly, and then glue them to the motor in their locations. And so you see here the block gets painted orange, and the transmission is a steel color. Now the belts, distributor, and fan are black, and the exhaust manifolds are a steel color. Then add the air cleaner. As you see here, it's got some white ribbing around it where the paper filter is, and the top is black with a decal in place. And now we'll work on the wheel assembly, and you get to choose, of course, between the stock and the movie type version with the low riders here. And so go ahead and get those staged. And I'm building the movie version, and the wheels are a 2-tone gold aluminum. So after I painted the wheels with some Tamiya Titan Gold, I used some liquid mask for the silver. So I covered up the gold area and then sprayed the aluminum in its place, and then assembled the wheels after they were dry, and they came out looking really nice. And next we'll work on the rear suspension and the chassis, and there's some raised script there for copyrights. You might want to remove that with scrape it off or sand it off. paint the chassis, the drive shaft, and the rear end semi-gloss black, and the exhaust and rotors are silver color. The calipers are red. To match the exterior with the movie car a little bit closer, I cut the exhaust tips off, and then I cut off 2 pieces of tubing with a tubing cutter. That's the same size as the original exhaust. I reamed the edge there, the inside edges, a little bit with the hobby knife, and then polished up the aluminum tubing and installed them into position over the exhaust pipes. And they look pretty nice. Next up, we're going to work on the front end. And so we're going to paint the cross member black and the rotors a silver color with those red calipers there as well. And we're going to add a little black wash to the rotors here to show off the porting, and then glue the motor and the cross member into place on the chassis. And now flip the chassis pan back over, and we're going to glue the rear axle into position, with the leaf springs there. And then at the same time, you're going to want to position the drive shaft to the engine, back of the transmission there, and the differential in the back. We'll take a look at the interior parts, starting with the dash and steering, and those are painted black with a chrome trim, for accents. And the dash has a wood grain insert that I did by layering a few shades of brown and craft paint, and then covering them with some Tamiya clear orange. Now, Revell would have been nice to put some decals in for this, but anyway, they're in other kits is the same interior. But here, finally add the gauge decals and glue the wheels into place, and then get the rest of the interior parts ready. Now glue the seat halves together, and then finish off the glue marks and the edges, and then glue them to the floor pan, and paint the whole thing black with a chrome trim and a wood insert for the center console. Then glue in the dash assembly, and lastly the shifter. Now this is actually a nice stock GTX interior, but the movie car absolutely was different. So it's kind of a trade-off. Let's turn our attention now to the body, and it's going to take a little bit of prep work here. So go ahead and get these parts out, and we can get started. Now in this scene, you see where the black marker is along the ridges there. Those are mold lines, so sand those until the black mark goes away. That's your stop. And then continue with the body. Get the front valance, and I'm going to hollow out the grill below the bumper. First, we can color in the area with the black marker. Now just sand it from the back side, and then check it periodically to see if you can see the black marker coming through the thin plastic that's left, and that'll let you know that you're close. And once you get all the way through that, it should look something like this, and the rest of the cleanup is done with a nice sharp hobby blade to make that a nice square look. Now the radiator and shroud are semi-gloss black, and once that's dry, you can glue those into position in the front end here. Now we can install the interior glass and the rear view mirror using some white or crystal clear glue, and place the glass into the body. And once that is set, you can locate your gluing points and add the interior tub to the body as well. Now, just in case you need a reminder, always have to scrape glue or I should say plating or paint from where you're going to glue your pieces together, or they won't stick. We'll use these parts next, the rear valance and the bumper, and I soaked the front and rear bumper in some bleach to strip the chrome off, because they're black, matching, they're matching black color in the movie car. So I took the chrome off of these before I use them. Now here I deviate from the instructions, and we're going to go to the front bumper so we can finish the body and paint it all as one unit. So now we're going to add the front valance as well and glue that into position, along with the spoilers and the mirror housings. Now once you get your body assembled, go ahead and give it a light sanding with 600 grit paper, and pay attention to any imperfections you want to touch up, and then go ahead and prime the body and let it dry. Now things move pretty quickly here. You can paint the body in black for the movie version. Just any Krylon type or testers, whatever you like. And just make sure you use clear coats that are compatible to the primer. And then, so paint the body, and you can go ahead and decal that per instructions, depending on whether you want the movie version or a stock. And to really replicate the movie car, though, you might want to replace it with one from a 71 Roadrunner kit, and then fill in the 4 marker lights, as those are also incorrect. Now, the movie car was actually a 71 Roadrunner that got kind of converted to a GTX. But either way, now you can locate your gluing points and place the chassis and glue it into position underneath the body there. Add the lenses to the front with some clear glue, and the lower fog lamps are then painted with a clear orange color. Now it's time to add some more of these bits to the engine bay. You'd seen the air cleaner earlier. That was from Finish Shop, but it's at this point in the build that we'll add that. And it gets stripped of paint and then painted black along with the other parts that you saw here. The master cylinder cap is a silver color. Now glue everything into place and then add the decal to the air cleaner. And now we can place the hood and the front emblem into position at this time. Now for the final bit of construction, we're going to add the mirror inserts to the side view mirrors. I used a little white glue here and put those into position. Well, even though there's not a lot of parts in this kit, there's some left over for the stock version. Must be stock front end and the wheel assemblies. There are also some leftover engine parts. Looks like there may be the 446 pack configuration here and hood scoop that you would use for a different engine configuration. Well, there you have it. Here's Dominic's car from Fast and Furious 8, and it's a pretty good representation, but there are some omissions and errors. The interior is wrong, the marker lights, the rear bumper, and the exhaust should have actually rectangular tips. The stripes are a little bright, and there's one wheel in the kit that doesn't have as sharp a detail as the other 3. But other than that, it's a nice rendition with a few modifications. Looks pretty close, and it's a great stock GTX kit. If you want to just put that together, it's an easy builder. So if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf. Well, we hope you liked this premium step-by-step model kit review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking on the icon in the lower right hand of any of our reviews, or you can find us on Facebook or our website, rightonreplicas.com. Thanks.